Okay, this is from the Daily Mail. The five children from one family who claim Michael Jackson brainwashed and abused them for 25 years without each other knowing. Siblings now suing the disgraced pop star's estate for 160 million pounds. Now I realize, you guys, I didn't fall off the bus. A lot of people are going to be like, well, that's a setup to get at his money. I understand people saying that, but you need to really go down the rabbit hole and you'll find out. You don't have to agree with me, but if there's any weird stuff in my comments, I'll turn it off. Dated 11 October 2025. Little boys as usual, right? It's what you call grooming the family. Michael Jackson always said that he loved the Casio family as his own. Where have we heard that before? He befriended the patriarch, Dominic, in 1984 at the Helmsley Palace in New York, where he worked as a general manager and where Jackson often stayed when he was in the city. They're calling him Jacko, but I'm not going to go with that, even though he kind of was. When he asked to meet his children, of course. I mean, think about that. The starstruck Dominic jumped at the chance to introduce them to a real-life pop star. That's a spell, everybody. That is a spell. Remember Madonna's song, I'd like to put you in a trance. Dominic and his wife, Connie, had two little boys at the time, aged 5 and 3. They went on to have 3 more children, 2 more boys and a girl. And in time, Jackson, too, was added to the family roster. It's ingratiating themselves into the family. It's how they do it. And that's my opinion. I am free to have an opinion. I believe MJ was guilty all day, every day. There were family dinners with Grace, said before every meal, at the Casio's modest house in New Jersey, and shopping outings and trips to Disneyland. See that also too. I mean, I'm really interrupting. I'm sorry, guys, but there's a differential with the income. And I know there's a lot of decent, good, wealthy people out there that want to do good things for lesser means people. That's amazing. But that's a differential of power. Wonder what all those correction officers know about that. The bad ones. The children would stay with and without their parents. Rule number 1. At Jackson's Neverland Ranch in California. Often, one or more of them would be dressed up in a fedora and dark glasses to look like a mini Michael. Narcissist much? You guys, I don't like him at all. So if you love this little weirdo, please get out of my video. It was a friendship. I mean, think about that. It was a friendship that went on for decades. When Jackson's own children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, were born, the older Casio boys would help look after them. I still think that's so strange to name your child Blanket. After he turned 18, the eldest son, Frank, started to work for Jackson as a personal assistant. Waited until he was 18. Michael Jackson pictured with Dominic Wright, his wife Connie Cascio left, and 3 of their children. I'm going to click onto this gallery and see what we've got. Neverland, like Peter Pan, like various mind control programs. I heard a very, 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 very dark story about his chimpanzee Bubbles, but I have no way to verify it, but it was not good. Remember what I told you guys about virtue signaling? Okay. So the Helmsley Palace was some type of a hotel. They accuse bombshell documents seen exclusively by the Mail on Sunday were filed in California earlier this month. They accused Jackson of grooming, abusing, and brainwashing all of the family's 5 children. So loyal and devoted was he that Frank was one of Jackson's most staunch supporters. When the star was first accused of abusing a young boy in 1993 and again in 2005, he leapt to his defense. Frank even wrote a book about their deep but purportedly innocent friendship in 2011. I'm going to just say this. It is not natural for a grown man to have friendships with little boys, period. Even, yes, the whole story was he didn't have a great childhood. We all know that. That's still not normal. And if you guys remember from the old school, because that's where I'm from, LaToya called her brother the F out. And then the handlers silenced her. Frank even wrote a book. Okay, I already read that. Okay, I'll read it again. Frank even wrote a book about their deep but purportedly innocent friendship in 2011 called My Friend Michael, An Ordinary Friendship with an Extraordinary Man. That's what you call controlling the narrative. PR, narcissism, it really is very similar. But in a horrifying turn of events, the singer now stands accused by the Cassios of grooming and abusing the entire family of 5 children over a period of more than 25 years. There's more, by the way. Bombshell documents seen exclusively by the Mail on Sunday were filed in California earlier this month. They accused Jackson of grooming, abusing, and brainwashing all of them. Wonder where he'd learn about brainwashing. Remember when, well, for the people who were around back then, Jackson was put in a hyperbaric chamber and all kinds of weird stuff. In a ghastly twist, each of the 5 siblings believed that only they were targeted by Jackson in this way, and each thus carried the burden of the secret abuse alone into adulthood. This is validating Safechuck and Robson, and there's a lot more, you guys. Just please go do your research. Don't curse me out. Do your research and then come at me. The scandal is potentially the biggest ever blow to Jackson's already tattered reputation and may yet destroy it for good. And yes, everybody's going to be like, that's a money grab. They just want his money. Just look into it, please. A source familiar with the case confirmed that all 5 of the Cascio siblings, including Frank, claimed they were abused by Jackson. That ruined these kids, man. It was everything S-U-L. S with underage children, otherwise known as pedophile, you guys, the source said. When they all realized what had been going on, it was the most traumatic thing. Their story is insane. What's more than insane, it's traumatic. It's dark, it's depraved, it's disgusting. The source said that the case was going to be a nightmare for the Jackson estate because of the severity of the claims. At stake, as lawyers for Jackson's estate agree, is one of the most lucrative slices of the entertainment world. They already went for that, you see? It's always the money. They always say that. A biopic, Michael starring his nephew, I'll never watch that, is due for release next year. It's what you call the PR spin. Revenues are vast. His estate has earned $2.5 billion since his death in 2009. You see why they keep it all going? What kind of circles do you think he ran in? The spark that ignited the scandal was the bombshell in 2019 documentary, Leaving Neverland. Highly recommend you guys go see it. I mean, it's time that people listen to the victims. In it, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, 2 men now in their 40s, who were befriended by Jackson as starstruck young boys, and who previously denied anything untoward had ever happened between them and their special friend, the alleged pedophile, spoke in horrific detail about the abuse they had, in fact, suffered. Safechuck said he was abused from 1988 to 1992, and Robson from 1990 to 1996 at Neverland and other locations. And if you'll notice, like Pockets in the Future had described Michael Jackson as the others, that do this, he had a type. Just go look at all the little boys that he befriended. The majority of them looked very much the same. And I think it reflected, some of his self-hatred. But yeah, I can't think of what else I was going to say. Safechuck said he was abused from 1988 to 1992, and Robson from 1990 to 1996 at Neverland and other locations. Okay, sorry I read that twice, but it reminded me of, they grew out of his age group. So that was like 90 to 96 for Robson, 88 to 92 for Safechuck. They probably had gotten too old for him. And in my opinion, that whole Neverland Ranch was like a complete groomer's magnet. And everybody's like, but he helped the children so much. He just helped the children save the world, make it a better place. Well, he's hurting children, in my opinion. Yeah, I heard a very dark story about what happened to Bubbles in the end. I have no way to vet it out or no way to verify it, but I believe what I read. The filing accuses the Jackson estate of exploiting the same patterns of trust, fear, and conditioned loyalty. Sound like narcissism? that Michael had used in order to persuade them to sign a settlement. Huh? Where have we seen settlements before, you guys? Where have we seen that? Safechuck also claims that Jackson took him shopping for an engagement ring. Yeah, go look at that, you guys. Go look into that, man. It's what you call a level 5 predator. But the whole cover story was that Michael was buying it for a woman, in my opinion. That Jackson took him shopping for an engagement ring and later held a mock wedding. Both men are currently involved in legal action against the estate. Jackson fans, you know, fan is short for fanatic, right? I don't get into all that stuff anymore. Jackson fans accuse them of lies and extortion. Huh, where have we heard that before? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And I don't know. I don't know. I have this strange feeling. This is my opinion. It's my observation that Lisa Marie Presley was just dragged into that. And she had a lot of positive things to say about him. But I think either she was coerced or maybe was afraid to talk about him, or maybe was tricked. I don't know. Because we know what kind of abuse she went through. Court documents detail the Cascio siblings' shock and trauma upon realizing this had happened to all of them, unbeknownst to each other. That's that secret stuff, you guys see? It's always with the secrets. Following the release of the documentary Leaving Neverland and the Cassio's subsequent disclosure of their shared experiences with each other for the first time, imagine how traumatic that must have been for them. The filing at the Los Angeles County Superior Court says, from the early 1980s until at least 2009, Michael Jackson had intimate contact with the Cascio children. This abusive contact occurred over a span of decades and involved hundreds of instances. Each of the Cascio children were groomed, brainwashed, and severely manipulated. That each was uniquely special to Michael, and that their relationship with him was exclusive. Go back, you guys, and watch the interview with Oprah Winfrey, and I got my thoughts about her too, about the other guy, the British journalist. A lot of people talk badly about him, but I can't think of his name right now, the British journalist. I think Oprah and the British journalist knew what the F Michael was doing, and I think that's why they were looking at him the way they were. Go back and look at those interviews, please. And then Michael whined and cried, oh, you know, he broke my confidence, rah, 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 rah. I mean, imagine being on that compound. I mean, it's kind of like the Neverland Valley is sort of like a compound. And it's like, you know, anyone who's doing evil things, they want everyone to believe the facade and the fake story. And that British journalist bashing or something like that, he probably was seeing. And he wasn't buying Michael's crap. It's my opinion. This emotional manipulation was designed to secure each family member's loyalty and ensure their silence. Where have we seen that before? Non-disclosure agreements, Scientology having everyone sign contracts, almost like that religion was designed to entrap everyone, to suck their soul. Ensure their silence, making them feel indebted to Michael and isolated from any source of protection or perspective. Huh? Where have we seen that before? Through years of psychological conditioning, otherwise known as grooming, Michael cultivated dependence and fear in the Casios. Yeah, he did that to all his victims. And some of those children's fathers just ended up taking their lives, allegedly. Things that make you go, Making respondents believe that they had no choice but to comply and no safe way to break free. Sound familiar? The effects of this conditioning persisted into adulthood, leaving respondents with a deeply ingrained belief that speaking out would constitute betrayal. Almost like being a suppressive. A dynamic the estate has continued to exploit in its dealings with them. Oh, Lord. The filing accuses the Jackson estate of exploiting the same patterns of trust, fear, and conditioned loyalty that Michael had used in order to persuade them to sign a settlement in 2020. I imagine the lawyers had a lot to do with that, wouldn't you guys? Remember how one of the boys, for the ones who were around back then, one of the boys was detailing like a body mark on Michael Jackson or a mole or something to that effect, which would corroborate their stories. Remember that? That's why the LAPD freaking made sure Michael got the freaking treatment, and big up to them at this point. Estate representatives, meanwhile, describe an unusual meeting at the Sunset Marquis Hotel. There's another hotel. What is it about these hotels, man? Some kind of dark spells on them? At the Sunset Marquis Hotel pool in Los Angeles, where the Casios camp insisted participants wear only bathing suits, so that Jackson's representatives could not wear a wire to record the conversation. Very Scientology of them. In January 2020, the estate allegedly agreed to a confidential settlement to protect Jackson's family. To protect Jackson's family. Because nobody wants to MF protect children, do they? The agreement included payments over 5 years, reportedly totaling $13 million, strict non-disparagement terms. Is that like a non-disclosure or something like that? They never want people to talk. They never want people to talk. Never. Terms and a clause requiring all disputes to be handled in private. Isn't it funny with all this secrecy crap? You see all these weirdo freaks with their index finger up to their lips, including priests and popes. What the F's the freaking secret? Wake up. And why is everybody holding a freaking hand over their right eye? Or their left eye? Is that the left-hand path? Hold on, guys. Here I was talking to myself. So the siblings even met Jordy Chandler, whose father later accused Jackson of abusing his son when he was 13, and who reached a reported $16 million settlement with the Star in 1994. And there was a lot of negative things spread about that father. Because you can't accuse MJ of abuse of children without any admission of guilt. Of course not. Pictured, June Chandler with her children Lily and Jordan attend the MTV World Music Awards in Monaco in May 1993. And I mean, he was just so brazen with it all. I was a kid back then. I didn't know. Look at that kid. Does that look like a happy child? Does that look like a happy child to you guys? He carried those little boys around like little trophies. That's exactly what he did. It's my opinion. Hold on, guys. When news of Jordy's case broke, Dominic Cascio told reporters how he'd asked his 5 children if anything bad had happened with Michael, and they'd said no. You know why they said no? This is my opinion. It's free to have an opinion. You know why they said no? Because they were coached to say no. And if you go back and look, There were a lot of celebrities that were not with Michael Jackson. They just didn't want to be around him. They did not want to do duets with him. They didn't want to perform with him. There was a reason. Okay, today is challenge day for me. The famous singer had befriended the family patriarch, Dominic, in 1984 at the Helmsley Palace in New York, where he worked as a general manager, and where Jacko often stayed when he was in the city. Okay, I've already read these. In a ghastly twist, make sure I'm on, guys. Each of the 5 siblings believed that only they were targeted by Jackson in this way, and each thus carried the burden of the secret abuse alone into adulthood. The scandal is potentially the biggest ever blow to Jackson's already tattered reputation and may yet destroy it for good. A source familiar with the case confirmed that all 5 of the Cascio siblings, including Frank, claimed they were abused by Jackson. There's some repetition, but I'm going to read it anyways. It was everything sexual, S with underage children, the source said, otherwise known as pedophilia. You guys notice how mass media and other places are omitting the word pedophilia? The F's going on? Are they trying to push that Mapo stuff on everyone? They are omitting the word pedophilia as well as the word, trying to, as well as the word RAPE. If you'll notice in a lot of either YouTube videos or media accounts, they present a child being RAPED as having S with the child. I mean, really? Or one of my favorites, forced S. Anyways. It was everything actual, S with underage children, the source said. When they all realized what had been going on, it was the most traumatic thing. Their story is insane. I apologize, you guys. I had to get out of the video for a minute, turn it off, and then I went to the wrong place. I apologize. The Cassio's lawyers, led by Mark Garagos, who represented the disgraced rapper P. Diddy. Is that what he is? Is that what he is, you guys? Go and look into all the evil that was going on there and still is. The disgraced rapper P. Diddy named real name Sean Combs. Isn't that interesting, you guys? Almost like they're all in a little club or something. Weird. Excuse me. During his recent S trafficking trial, said their silence was obtained coercively and deceptively. Upon its expiration, the Cassios came back and said that they wanted 160 million pounds, sparking the court case, which has been largely secret until now. There we go with those secrets. Their legal team argued that the Jackson estate discouraged the children from seeking independent legal advice, describing the initial settlement as coercive and unfavorable. Legal argument is now ongoing. The Cassio side say that the initial gagging agreement is void and unenforceable. Bam. They add that they are not extorting the Jackson estate, but that they're seeking accountability. Huh? Where have we seen that before? Remember how Randers said he was accusing people of money grab, etc.? The singer who died in 2009 of acute intoxication, allegedly, with the drug propofol, was dogged during his life by accusations and lawsuits connected with the abuse of young boys. His friendship with the Cassios was one of his best defenses. The superstar was a regular and humble visitor to the family home. It was funny because he would just come up and enjoy family dinners and just be part of the family, said one of the children. I mean, I'm sure he was longing for that, but he was still a predator. He would always make sure that before every meal we say our prayers. You guys know what's up. Say grace, and even afterward, we'd have sit-downs, and we all go through and talk about what we're thankful for. In his book, Frank Cassio said, "Those early grade school years passed with Michael as a regular, if often unannounced, visitor to my family's home in Hawthorne." That alone, too, is rude. That's like breaking everyone's boundaries. You know, back in the old days, the courtesy was try to call someone. I mean, you know, certain instances, yeah, somebody wants to get a cup of sugar or something, but it's just common courtesy. For the next few years, that's what the relationship that we had with Michael. The doorbell would ring late at night, and sibling name redacted, and I would know it was Michael. We'd wake up, run to give him hugs, and show him whatever new toys we had and tricks we had learned. The whole family talking, greeting him like a beloved relative from far away whose plane had arrived late. Yeah, as he barges in on them and not even announced late at night. It's still rude. Doesn't matter that you're a celebrity. You still have like some kind of manners. He and a brother first visited Neverland in 1993 when Frank was 12 in his book. Frank said we wanted to hang out with him. He was the spirit of the place. A biopic, Michael starring his nephew. I'm going to have to miss that one. That's what you call public relations control, in my opinion. The Antonia Fuqua directed movie titled Michael stars the late King of Pop's nephew, Jafar Jackson, in the title role. I mean, that alone tells you something. In the title role. I just can't, you guys. I mean, I did his dances, and I did them very well, I might add. I can't move very well like I used to, but Jafar last year took to Instagram showing off his efforts, mimicking the late Beat It artist. They got to keep it going, you see? You guys see? They even met Jordy Chandler, whose father later accused Jackson of abusing his son when he was 13. Why do they keep repeating themselves? And all this computer technology, even if it's AI, I mean, can't we like check for repetition? Abusing his son when he was 13 and reached a reported $16 million settlement with the star in 1994 without any admission of guilt. What does it say in the Bible about idol worship? In his book, Frank says Jordy was introduced as a cousin of the singer. A lie. There you go, right there. And that they'd played video games together. When news of Jordy's case broke, Dominic Cassio told reporters how he'd asked his 5 children if anything bad had happened with Michael, and they'd said no. And so later that same year, Frank and his brother joined Jackson in Israel, Turkey, Spain, Switzerland, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Mexico on tour. And a lot of people are really cruel about the families, but you have to understand they were under coercion. I mean, honestly, like some of these Scientologist parents, I think each Scientologist parent is an individual case. Two of the brothers would stay in hotel suites with Jackson. It's always with the hotels. And in his book, Frank said they were playful, tossing pillows around and stuff like that. It's weird. Eventually, their father left the tour to go back to work. In the book, Frank says Jackson wept and said, "I know you have to get back to work, but I'm asking if Frank and his brother can stay here with me." Oh, that was Michael. I was getting mixed up. "I know you have to get back to work, but I'm asking if Frank and his brother can stay here with me. I would really love for them to stay," Frank writes. "And so my brother and I were on tour with Michael Jackson." In 1995, they were pictured with Jackson at Disneyland Paris. You guys know what happens at Disneyland, right? I can't even go into that stuff. This was around the time that Jackson split up with his wife, Lisa Marie Presley. I personally believe, this is my opinion, that was like a cover-up marriage. Like, what do you call that? There's a name for it. Not a cover-up, well, kind of a cover-up, but a lot of people that back in early Hollywood that were gay would have these, like a sham marriage. Same thing with the P-Files, in my opinion. In his book, Frank said when they split up, Michael claimed that one of the main reasons was that Lisa was jealous of us and the relationship he had with us. That's weird too. But I mean, I just think there's more. I don't think Lisa knew. I don't think she knew. He preferred spending time with us to spending it with her. What'd I just say, you guys? Michael went to Europe in the summer of 1996 with Frank Cassio, who had just finished his second year at high school and would have been around 15 or 16. They went to London, Scotland, and Switzerland together, and Frank says he shared Jackson's hotel suite, as always. That alone right there, you guys, it's not normal, it's not natural. It's not. During the history tour, Frank says he was introduced to Omer Badi, another of Jackson's young friends. You see how they pass off the children as friends? I mean, yeah, it's sad you missed out on childhood. A lot of people did, but you don't make friends with children. That's weird. Jackson told him that Badi was his son, another lie. Going along with Michael's benign story about Omar was hard to me, says Frank. What is that called? Like a person who lies all the time. In 1998, Frank started to work for Jackson in a Man Friday role. In the following year, on another trip to Disneyland Paris, he had his own hotel room. Recorded in the book as a first. You guys know why? People were asking questions, that's why. Hold on, I want to see. I keep forgetting what that is. A pathological liar. That's it. And you got a compulsive liar. That's a little different. Pathological. That's it. Frank was responsible for helping Jackson to take care of his children. Kind of sound like the Sea Org. Doesn't it sound like the Sea Org to you guys? Sounds like the Sea Org. At dinner time, we'd all gather around the kitchen table with Paris in her high chair. The scandal is potentially the biggest ever blow to Jackson's already tattered reputation and may yet destroy it for good. It's interesting that they say that. A source confirmed that all 5 of the Casio siblings, including Frank, claim they were abused by Jackson. The disgraced star was pictured on stage in the Netherlands in 1992. We'd cut up the kids' food, kind of like a nanny, you guys, kind of like a nanny. Feed them, bathe them, comb their hair, change their diapers, and get them into pajamas. Sounds like the Sea Org nannies, doesn't it? Or Scientology nannies that still exist right now in real time. Prince slept in Michael's bed, and Paris slept in a crib next to mine. Paris, like her brother before her, liked to sleep in my arms. It's beyond, let me make sure I'm on here, guys. It's beyond any doubt that they were close. Many of the Casio family, including Frank's mother Connie, known as Mama Ruba, are thanked in the sleeve notes to Jackson's 2001 Invincible album. Also, too, for people that are predators or otherwise known as pedophiles that the internet keeps trying to censor us from saying, they, I think that's the love bombing, and they kind of put people under a little bit of a spell. They were from lesser means, they're being treated like royalty. They're getting all this excitement. They get to go to these different places in the world. And that's how these kind of people can just weave themselves in. At this point, the youngest Casio sibling, then aged around 12, was traveling with Jackson, including a trip to Miami, having become the singer's new companion. See the age thing, you guys? Do you guys see what I see? It was a situation that led to jealousy among the children. Also, Robson and Safechuck talked about that as well. How when Michael would, move on to a new victim, I mean, that's my analogy or my observation, then they would get jealous because they weren't getting that attention anymore. I mean, abusing children is narcissistic as well. It's abuse. It's just sick, man. Journalist Roger Friedman published a letter apparently written by Frank Casio's sister around this time, in which she complained about her brothers getting whatever they want, whenever they want. That's to keep people quiet, you guys. It's how they do. Well, wealthier predators, that's what they do. While saying she wasn't liked because she's just a girl. There you go, you guys. By this time, Jackson was addicted to drugs, and this played a part in his once close relationship with Frank cooling. In 2003, Jackson's Neverland Ranch was raided after the singer told interviewer Martin Bashir, that's it, you guys, that's the guy I was talking about. Bashir wasn't having it. Go back and look at those interviews. Martin Bashir that he slept in the same bed as children, including Gavin Arvizo. Oh, there were quite a few cancer patients than Michael, and an AIDS patient as well. Ryan was his name. Yeah. Vulnerable much? Including Gavin Arvizo, a young cancer survivor he'd befriended in 2000. Notice he doesn't have any real adult friends, it doesn't seem like. In 2005, when he was 15, Arvizo went on record to publicly accuse Jackson of abusing him. It's another victim, you guys. Who's paranoid now? Everybody wants like, oh, Michael, he's so amazing. And he did so much for people. And oh, he was such a wonderful person. He was so magical. Accused Jackson of abusing him, and the case went to court, finally ending with the star being acquitted. Sound familiar, you guys? Around this time, Frank Cascio made the rounds of chat shows, including Oprah, to proclaim his friend's innocence. So not only did he abuse Frank and the other kids, he got them to aid and abet in crimes for him. LAPD comes to mind. The last time Frank visited Neverland was in January 2004, according to his book. Also noticed that Frank was getting older, so he was too old, you know what I mean? For reasons known only to Frank, his account of Jackson's behavior now reads like fiction. In his book, he was clear. Michael's interest in young boys had absolutely nothing to do with S. And that's weird that he would even write that. He was coerced to write like that, in my opinion. I say this with the unassailable confidence, almost like he was coached to say that, of firsthand experience, the confidence of a young boy who slept in the same room as Michael hundreds of times. You see how they try to normalize creepiness and predator shit like that? 8 years later, he and the world sat down to watch, in horror, the Leaving Neverland documentary. I wish more would come forward. You guys think that these wealthy people, which are a lot of bloodline, which I'm only going to say a few times, you think they don't take people out for coming forward? You think that they don't take out victims, etc.? They make Scientology look like a preschool organization. Thanks to the testimony of Wade Robson and James Safechuck, the cloak that had shrouded Jackson and his activities for so long was finally lifted. Given the Cassios family's current claims, how dark Frank's words now appear. And could they finally bring the Jackson money-spinning juggernaut to a crashing halt? So I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.